design head. But we move into the 7-iron and the 9-iron, got the slight undercut cavity, making them very, very forgiving looking clubs. The Cobra King F7 one length. So, a couple of days ago, yesterday maybe even, I tested the Cobra King forged one length, and obviously if you've watched that video already, you'll be aware that the idea behind this technology is that every single length iron is the same length as a 7-iron. So in these, I've got 7, 5 and 9. I'm going to start off hitting 7-iron. We're going to hit 3 real balls, kind of into a green on GC2, kind of give you guys a bit of feedback as to how the technology works and why or if it works. Whether this is something that maybe you should be trying, or maybe you're very comfortable with your traditional irons that change 1/2 inch per club. But the idea being, if we can set up in the same way, it makes us more consistent with how we're able to swing, how we're able to strike the ball, and then as long as the technology in the design of the clubs gives us that 10 to 12 yard gap from iron to iron, in theory this should work fantastic well for everybody out there. So, a little bit about the technology then. Because the clubs are all the same length, what we notice is as we get into the longer irons, they're obviously shorter than normal. So what Cobra have done is they've made the head a little bit heavier, and as the clubs get into the more lofted irons, they're longer than normal, so the heads are a little bit lighter, and the lofts adjust slightly accordingly to that. Now, with the F7 one length, the 7-iron's 30 degrees, so it's a modern lofted 7-iron. I want to say strong lofted, but not compared to some of the other stuff out there. So we're going to start with 7-iron because that's where we're basing the technology around. We're going to hit 3 shots. I've done a tiny bit of testing beforehand just to see roughly how far these will go. And normally with a 7-iron that's lofted about 33, 34 degrees, I'll probably carry the ball about 162, 163. So I'm expecting carry to be about 170 with this club. So let's get set up. And obviously when you set up to the golf ball, nothing feels different because this is just a standard 7-iron. So I'd set up very much as I would normally for my 7-iron and just try and put a normal swing on it. Maybe felt a tiny bit heavy and pulley. So not a good one. And we see I've missed the green left, short left. Okay, so the theory being, the F7's the forgiving club, so I probably shouldn't really count that in averages, but it was a shot, and that's what happens on certain shots. So we're going to set up again, 7-iron, I'm going to aim just slightly right for my little draw. There's a much better strike, still turning over a little bit more than I would want. But pitching on the green, so 172 carry. So let's go one more with 7-iron. Again, we're going to aim down the right, just hit my little draw. Again, maybe just turning it over a bit too much. Yeah, so 3 not great shots directional wise. It's hard down here today because the wind's really strong off the left, but GC2's closed data and I kind of feel like I'm turning it a bit more against the wind. But let's go from 7-iron into 9-iron, and this is where we start noticing how the technology changes. So obviously I'm used to a 9-iron being an inch shorter, as a lot of you will be. Just need to pull that green a little bit closer as well, so let's move that to say about 150. So certainly when I pick 9-iron up now, it feels long. As I showed the other day though, you know, I can pick the 5-iron up for example. Just feels really different to pick a club up with a 9-iron loft that's that long. But again, just set up as though it's a 7-iron. and then just try and put a better swing on it than I did with the 7-irons. So I felt a really nice strike. Again, just turning over a touch, pitching around 140. So a little bit short of where I would have maybe expected. So again, we're going to go second shot with a 9-iron. Need to get one on line with the flag. So again, another really decent strike. Almost the same line as the first one, just pitching a couple of yards longer. And then one final one with 9-iron. Almost feel that I'm going to have to hit this at the camera. So if you're watching, don't panic, it's not going to be that close. And again, nice strike, plenty of height. If nothing else, they were phenomenally consistent, even if they weren't that close to the flag. But didn't find any issue with striking that, even though it was a little bit longer than I would be used to. So, we're now going to switch from 9-iron into 5-iron. And the thing that I find interesting when we move into the longer irons with the F7, let's pull that green back a little bit further. Is when we get into 5-iron, we're now looking at something that's kind of more of a hollow head. So more of a, there's no noticeable cavity in the back here. So it looks big and powerful behind the golf ball. You know, I'm expecting this to go further than a 5-iron would in my kind of current conventional set. I'm not necessarily expecting it to go any further than some of the irons that are designed to hit it a long way. But certainly with the shorter shaft, kind of mentally it doesn't feel like I'm going to hit it that far. So I'm going to set up distance on the ball like I would with a 7-iron. Like I said when I reviewed the one forged, I kind of struggle with the ball position being the same. I don't know whether that's actually an issue or whether it's just I'm just not used to that and whether I could get used to it. But I still need my ball position to be where I would consider a 5-iron would be. But just feel very close to the ball now with it being such a short club. And let's go with 5-iron. And it really jumps off the face. Again, it's another one left. I've hit that a long way for a 5-iron. Now, I'm going to say part my fault for the direction, but I'm also going to say that these are just standard lie angles, so I'm not standard and possibly just overcompensating for this a little. But let's go again. That first shot felt fantastic for this 5-iron. Didn't feel quite as good a strike, and it's in the same place. But considering the contact wasn't as good, you know, a really, really good distance on that shot. Okay, let's go one more with 5-iron, and let's see if I can hit the green. Okay, so we're going to aim a little further right again. Didn't feel a fantastic strike. It's the best shot of it though. So yeah, carry was down a little bit there with the strike not being quite as good. But even for one that wasn't a fantastic strike, I think that still got out there a really, really good distance. So guys, let's look at some numbers for the Cobra King F7 one-length irons, just with 5-iron, 7-iron and 9-iron for now. Okay guys, so if we look at the numbers, certainly the first one, strike-wise, I just wouldn't consider really as a good shot. Even though it's showing the average carry being 166, I think you're more into that 170 when you look at my two solid strikes. Again, the spin was down on the first one. I think 5,300 would be the average without the miss hit. a touch on the low side, but not for something that's 30 degrees. As we move into 9-iron, again, I think the spin's just a touch on the low side for what I'd be looking for personally, but around 141 I'm very consistent with the distances. And as we move into the 5-iron, we're looking at 3-3 spin, 190 carry, but certainly there, you know, even front to back with a very good strike. You know, interesting results there for me, and probably not as consistent as I was with the one forged. Okay guys, so what's my feedback about Cobra King F7 one length? Personally, this particular model of head, not for me. You know, it doesn't suit my eye. Yes, it's nice and big and forgiving, but doesn't work for me. But best one in the world, this isn't aimed at my standard of player. I'm sure you guys will comment what standard you think I am below. But I have tried this with a few of my guys who are a bit newer to golf and maybe aren't as consistent a ball striker, and they've been massively impressed. I mean, certainly none of them have found the 7-iron an issue because they all practice a lot with 7-iron. A couple of them found the 9-iron took a few shots to get used to, but the biggest thing for me was when the guys got 5-iron in the hand, they were just amazed how quickly they could strike it and see a difference in the distance. I think a lot of guys, and you might be one of them, kind of go with 7, 8, 9, and they see a 10-yard gap, but they go 6-iron, 5-iron, 4-iron, and they all seem to go the same length as a 7-iron. If they can get the ball in the air, that's then down to the fact that they can't strike the club consistently, and certainly for me the one length shaft will definitely help for that consistency of strike. So guys, comment below, let me know if you've tried any one length product. If you have, is it already in your bag? If it isn't, tell me why, and be honest, because I think it's a great idea, but I'm not wholly convinced that guys who have had a number of years playing conventional stuff will be willing to spend enough time to get used to the fact that it feels different. You know, but I think it's very sound technology. My worry is, as I said in my previous video, will there be enough places where guys can try one length? And it's not a case of being fitted around 7-iron, because the 7-iron is no different to anyone else. It's then a case of you need to be able to hit the 4-iron, the 5-iron, the 9-iron, the wedge, so you can really see the benefit in the technology. Let me know, like I said though guys, I'll get back to as many of you as I can. Subscribe.